Welcome to a new video and a new camera comparison, Pro versus Ultra, Vivo X100 Pro versus Ultra. So let's get started. There's a cloudy but still warm day here in Wesel, Germany. We have those two and their camera specs. Triple lens setup on both, even though it looks like they have 4 lenses and sensors, with the main camera sensor 50 megapixel 1-inch, though the Ultra has the new lit or Leica 900, where we have the old IMX 989 on the Pro model. Then we have a 50 megapixel ultra-wide angle, a bit wider and a bit larger sensor on the Ultra. And we have a periscope 100mm on the Pro, and we have 200 megapixels 1/1.4 9-inch size sensor on the Ultra model. Very large one that promises also very nice zoom range, especially with digital crop in. And then of course we have some front-facing shooters as well, and I think we start off with the front-facing videos. 4K 30 frames per second on the Pro model here, and this one has a nice feature because we can record 4K 30 and 4K 60 frames per second. And the cool thing is I can switch during recording at 4K 30 to the back-facing cameras just with a tap of a button. There's a short audio delay and maybe I think video stutter there. Let's see. And there you can see what I see with the main camera sensor, the 1-inch type sensor. And yeah, let's perform a little zoom test there. 2x and 4.3x, and let's try to zoom in on the sign there by just going in manually. This is 10 times zoom. So what do you think about the quality here on the Pro? The Ultra takes it up a notch because we can record 4K 30 and 60, but the switching is also working in 4K 60 frames per second, which is quite nice. So I'm recording here 4K 30 because I'm working with a 30 timeline. If you're interested in the 60 frame rate, 4K 60 frames per second comparison, there's a dedicated video for this. Otherwise, let's switch to the best. There you can see 1x, 1-inch type sensor, can go to 2x, 3.7x, quite a jump there. And let's then go to 10x there, another jump, at least I see on screen a jump, and I can zoom in to 20 times and it is readable still, so quite cool. Let's go back to 2x, 3.7x, you can see it's like jumping a bit, and 10x is jumping again, at least I see it on screen. Maybe this is a bug. Let's compare videos. What we can clearly see on first glance is that the Vivo X100 Pro has more natural colors, where the Ultra has this struggling with the white balance and the colors a bit too yellowish again on my face, and the face color is perfect on the Pro here. Also the color on the background is much too warmish on the Ultra. So yes, it has still some issues with colors, and this is now the selfie cam only. Just go to the main camera sensor and we will see that we have a little bit brighter kind of exposure on the Pro, a little bit darker exposure on the Ultra. And when we go a little bit zoomed in there, and we zoom on the sign there, for example, what we can clearly see is that the Ultra seems to be a little bit more artificial looking here at this stage. But when I zoom in a little bit further and it finally switched to the 10x, then we can also see that we have this warmer kind of look here, a more realistic look on the X Pro, and it appears to be a bit sharper on the X Pro, but the Ultra of course has the possibility to zoom in even further, like 20 times, and then you can read those texts here on the signs, which is quite nice. But again, a bit more warmish kind of look that we have on the Ultra. So it struggles a little bit there. Maybe it's a design decision, something like this, that they wanted to have, there we go, that they wanted to have this kind of look, but I really don't like that too much. There we go. Here, what I like for sure is a bit darker exposure there, because I think here the greens are a little bit overdone on the X100 Pro. But look at the building here. It's way too warm looking, and this is more the color of the building that the Pro is capturing here. There's a bit more contrast. Maybe this has something also to do with it. Look at the tiles there on the top and here. It looks a bit more punchy on the Ultra for sure. I'm not a fan so much of the Ultra's video performance, I have to say, even though 4K 60 would be nice, yeah, with lens switching all over the place, also on the Pro, but sadly I think the CPU is not able to do this. Yeah, you be the judge which one you like better, but I be completely honest, I think the X100 Pro, because of the colors, looks a bit better to me than the Ultra in terms of video. Otherwise, yes, the zoom, when you zoom in, even this level here, the main camera sensor level 2x or something, is a bit sharper. It has more contrast there, so it's adding a little bit there to it, but also all the other things here when you zoom in and look at the detail, we have a bit of overexposure here because I think the Pro is a little bit overexposing. So we have more details here in the dark shadows, here more shadows of course, but yeah, this is the main difference that you can see in terms of videos. And then when we switch lens again, I think this is now, it's switched lenses. I was just like struggling here with a little bug that I only encountered it once, but it was a bit of annoying that it was like switching a bit away from what I was expecting it to be. And yeah, both have a bit of blooming there going on, and sharpness and detail levels. I think there is a bit more details on the Ultra, but it's very, very hard to tell. Ultra is a little bit blown out, maybe also there with the colors there, where the Pro keeps it more real there. So it's hard to tell, but you be the judge here which one you like better in terms of video. I think I'm leaning, yeah, it's hard to say. I think in the end the Ultra is still better because it doesn't have this overexposure issue at the beginning. But the colors I like definitely on the Pro a bit better. The white balance is much better there. Otherwise, like, it's a bit too bright on the Pro. None of them is perfect there. I think still the Find X7 Ultra is doing a better job in terms of video. But if you have to compare them side by side, still more detail levels you will find on the Ultra. And of course the zoom range is a bit better if you want to zoom in further and see stuff like signs and so on. The Ultra is your best bet, but otherwise, yeah, X100 Pro is no issue either, because you can just move the exposure a bit down there manually, and you get a very, very nice video on both. So what do you think? Write it down in the comments. Photos on the left always the Pro, and on the right always the Ultra. We start off with the selfie cam indoors to see which one performs the best. On first glance, what we can see, we have a more contrasty look on the X100 Ultra, and the X100 Pro has a bit more, less contrasty look, a little bit warmer kind of look, more natural look actually. But when we zoom in to 100%, we can clearly see that there's a difference. First of all, it zooms into much more on the X100 Pro because we have 32 megapixels here, where the Ultra is using pixel binning and we have only 12 megapixels. When I zoom out a little bit there, like to get roughly the same kind of, even if I zoom in a little bit more, we can clearly see that the X100 Ultra has more details on my face. And it's not recreating the face so much there, it is just natural details that it has, where the X100 Pro is a little bit struggling there. So selfie cam, is going towards the Ultra. When we come to macro capabilities, both feature a macro mode and both utilize their tele zoom cameras for those. So the X100 Pro is using its 4.3 times zoom, where the Ultra is using its 3.7 times zoom. This time around, the X100 Pro has a bit more contrasty kind of look, where the Ultra is leading towards less contrast in the look, to maybe not hiding the sharpness that it lacks like the Pro is doing, because look at this here and you can clearly see the little hairs that we have on this flower. So yes, I'm leaning towards the Ultra here for the macro capabilities. Also, I can get much closer with the Ultra than with the Pro, where I have to stand a little bit back. When it comes to like the bokeh and getting like this very cool kind of macro effect with this blurry background, both deliver pretty good experience. Let's come to portraits, and don't fear, I don't have only here Benjamin the elephant as the main subject there, my daughter's little animal, plush animal. This is 2x zoom option on the portrait mode and with the default settings basically. And what we have here is, first of all, I think a slightly warmer look on the Ultra, a little less warmer look on the Pro. But what we can see also is we have more contrasty look on the Ultra and a little bit less contrasty look. Look at the ear and look at the contrasts there. When we zoom in to 100%, what we can also clearly see is both have fantastic detail, and the Pro is slightly blurrier here than the Ultra. Both use the 2x zoom as a crop from the main sensor, though the Vivo X100 Ultra is showing that the main sensor is a generation ahead with a little bit less blurriness there in the shot, and yeah, a bit more sharpening and sharpness in general. So I think it is not only sharpening applied, it is sharpness in general that we have here and clearly see on the Ultra in comparison to the Pro. Then my daughter here just from behind, so you don't see her face for privacy matters, but this is also now another shot here. You can see this is 100x on both, which is a native zoom range. So using the native camera module on the X100 Pro, the tele, and it's a crop on the X100 Ultra's 3.7x zoom. What we can clearly see here is again a little bit more contrast. Also in the background you can see the greens are looking different. They're far more yellowish, those greens. And also on the trousers and everything there you can see a little bit more punchy yellow on the X100 Pro, where the Ultra is keeping a little bit toned down. Both using, by the way, natural size kind of mode for all the pics. And I think also here in the portrait mode they both had the same kind of mode. When I zoom in, however, you can see on my daughter's left ear much more detail on the Ultra, and this is where they really optimized the portraits. It is not only artificial sharpening, it is just a bit sharper there, and this is coming from the better tele lens they have. The cutouts are good. I think the Ultra is doing a slightly better job there in terms of cutouts than the Pro is doing, and yeah, here you can see it especially. So I think it's slightly better than what the Pro is doing there. Also more gradually going into the blurry background, where here it's like and the blurry background is there. So yes, the Ultra a little bit better also in terms of portraits. A portrait of Timmy here. What we can see here as well is again a little more this gradual going into bokeh. But also, I think there is a slight difference in terms of colors there. It is a little bit more, the contrast is a little bit higher on the Pro, where on the Ultra it's a bit lower, I would say. And in terms of sharpness and detail level, again, both fantastic, but the Ultra is delivering at 50mm here to X zoom a little bit more in terms of details. It's not only over sharpening, it is natural sharpness that we have here. In terms of bokeh, both struggling a little bit there. It's just like a different kind of background slightly, because I had a different angle there, because one phone over the other. But in general, I think both are doing a very fine job. But yeah, the Ultra is the clear winner here in terms of portraits for sure. Even though you can see it's a bit more warmish, yellowish, greenish maybe tone, where here it's a different kind of tone. And then we have 10x zoom, and like I said, both called size or size natural colors and use here. Here it's quite interesting because I think the Pro is doing a slight better job at this 10x zoom. It has a further zoom range, but you can see here the difference between the lights and the darks there is greatly captured here, where here it is like made even on the Ultra, which is a bit less realistic. So we have more contrasty look on the Pro, which helps to make the whole image look a little bit sharper, and the Ultra looks like softer. And also, maybe some people prefer this like less contrasty kind of look, a little softer look, but it appears to be that it's like slightly out of focus even on the Ultra, where the Pro just looks like a little bit too over processed. comes to the background there and the details here on the roof, for example, both doing fine job. I don't see much of a difference. There's maybe a slight color difference there as well, going towards greenish colors more, and here more towards the bluish kind of colors. Maybe here on this tile you can see a little bit more details there, nuances in this tile, but this is like also might be a color difference and variation only. Then this cola bottle here, I'm not telling you which brand it is, but you can see it. When we zoom in, this is also 10 times zoom to see how good are the optimizations with text. We know already the Ultra struggles a bit there, and the Pro is not much better. As you can see, both doing a fine job. There's a slight color variation, so it's a bit brighter on the Pro, where the Ultra keeps it a little bit more toned down. The numbers are clearly visible and readable on both, but I think maybe the Pro is slightly bit better there. Also with the numbers here of kilojoules and kilocalories. Slightly blurrier on the Ultra in this regard. But yeah, what do you think about those two here performing this? In terms of colors, again, a bit more contrasty look. You can see it in the background, also with a bit more punchy colors, where it's a bit tuned down again on the Ultra. Then ultra wide angle, where we see the biggest difference probably in those two here, because we have two different sensors. A smaller sensor on the Pro, where the Ultra has a larger sensor, the same sensor size that the Pro uses for its tele sensor. So quite interesting that we have this color difference here, where again a much more tuned down version on the Ultra, where the Pro has a bit more punchy colors, a bit more brightened up greens. And when we zoom in, we can clearly see the advantage of the Ultra, not only on the sensor there, you can see my wife there playing with my daughter, but also with the over sharpness that we have on the Pro. So the Pro is struggling there. Also when you go and look at the rooftop here and the tiles, they are much clearer, much more visible on the Ultra. And it just looks a bit like a painting here, where here it's not much better. It's also over sharpened, but it is looking worse on the Pro than on the Ultra for sure. And then when you go to the edges, you can also see that we have slightly wider field of view. So we have here, what is it, 14 millimeters on the Ultra, where we have 15 millimeters on the Pro. So yes, this is a win for the Pro. Look at the colors here as well as the details that it captures there. Yes, the Ultra has the better ultra wide angle for sure. Main camera sensor, again, we have a bit more contrasty, punchy look on the Pro, both using size natural mode. The Pro sometimes misfocuses. It was focusing on the leaf back there, where the Ultra was focusing on the right thing. Granted, I used touch to focus on both, but the Ultra made it where the Pro didn't. Anyway, bokeh is nice on both. I think they both have the same aperture even. Yes, they have the same aperture of f1.8 that you can see here, and both are doing an equal fine job. I think the Pro would have almost have the same. There's a slight difference in terms of colors, as I said, a bit more contrasty look. So that means the brighter spots are a bit brighter here, and the darker spots are a bit darker on the Pro, where the Ultra keeps a bit more flat kind of profile. And now another difference where you can clearly see it here, also with the green grass, where it's a bit flatter and less contrasty look, and the Pro has nice details here. And the Ultra also nice details, I think slightly out of focus here and blurry already. This is an issue that I encountered with the Ultra. Sometimes I have the feeling, in contrast to the Pro, even though they use the same aperture, that the Ultra has a bit more out of focus spots. Maybe the sensor size is not 1 inch on both, but slightly bigger maybe on the Ultra that causes this. Or some other problems with focusing maybe, where it appears sometimes out of focus a little bit there. You can see here has the background maybe more in focus than here. This might be also the cause. So it's hard with those two to figure out such small details there. And I just see there's like a little bit of dirt there. Didn't capture it here. Anyway, let's go and take a look at selfies in the day. And here you can see, I was pretty happy. Nice day. We have a little bit more blurry kind of look on the Ultra, even though both use the same kind of artificial blur with f2.8. There's a slightly more zoomed in shot, as you can see here. It was like 1.2 times zoom in, where here it says 1.0, but both are 24 millimeters. Actually, I don't see much of a difference, just like this is 32 megapixels, this is 12 megapixel pixel bint. And I think we have again more contrasty kind of look on the Pro, which leads to the background being a little bit darker there, where here we have like a little bit less contrast, and this is the only difference, because if you look at the blurriness, I think they are on par in terms of blurriness. It's just that the contrast is a bit higher on the Pro, and I think also the Ultra is leaning towards warmer colors, where the Pro is leaning towards a bit cooler colors. Otherwise, like when you take a look at the detail level, again, there's no comparison. Basically, the 32 megapixel is losing in terms of details against the pixel bint Ultra 12 megapixel. And then one shot in humanistic mode using the textured color profile there on both using 35 millimeter, which is a crop on the main camera sensor, f2.0, and roughly the same settings there as well. Here you can see that the Ultra is using much more contrast, and this is why we have here also a bit more detail eventually, but also focusing work nicer, where it's quite soft on the Pro for some reason. I was tapping to focus there on this spot actually, and both doing actually a fine job, and it looked on screen also nice on the Pro, but as soon as I put it on the computer, I see it's out of focus slightly, where the Ultra has a little bit more contrast, as you see, and a bit more darkish kind of colors there. And overall, we have a bit of blooming going on right in the Pro that we don't have on the Ultra. So yes, the Ultra, also the main camera sensor on the Ultra, is slightly better there. What is better, however, color accuracy. Color accuracy always was in outside conditions better, I think, on the Ultra. At least it looked to be more natural, but is that really the case? I thought it also it's more natural as soon as I took this photo, where I was like, huh? Because what the Pro captured here is more real to life. So this is the teddy bear here and a little book for my daughter, and the whites of the sofa here look pretty natural, look exactly how I saw it with my eyes, where the X100 Ultra for some reason took the life out of the colors of the yellows there. It's made for kids, so yes, the colors are a bit more livelier. They are looking like we have it here on the Pro. Also the ball, the yellow ball, where here is it going a little bit too more orange on the Ultra. Yes, the Ultra is sharper here, doesn't have like this chromatic aberrations and such things, or what is it, like a bit of haze going on. Maybe both struggle a bit there, but I think the Pro a little bit more. This is a little bit concerning here in terms of colors. Otherwise, in detail level, both are doing a very fine job on the teddy bear. All the little things are... By the way, this is a teddy bear that I gave my daughter. I actually had this teddy bear as a kid by myself. So it's very, very old kind of teddy bear. Anyway, this teddy doesn't look like this on the Ultra, like on the Ultra. It looks like it has a magenta kind of hue. A little bit lifeless and a bit too warm, and as if it would want to make this here the color of skin or something like this, which is not true. But the Ultra has a slight ace up its sleeve, because in the normal photo mode you have also the possibility to change your colors and bump the saturation up and contrast a little bit. I did a little bit with the saturation, and I could get a nice shot out of it. As you can see, this is the difference between this and this. It still has a slight magenta kind of hue there, but I don't like this to be too contrasty as on the Pro. I wanted to have like still the Ultra characteristics, and I think I got away with it. You can see the yellows are much more yellow now. It's still a bit sharper for sure. Just like the teddy, for some reason, when I took the next shot, was slightly out of focus there, and it was focusing on the background there, as you can see. But the colors are much nicer there, and it comes very close to be realistic. But actually, if I want to have the most realistic kind of photo, I would have gone with the Pro and just put the slider for contrast a bit down. But sadly on the Pro we don't have this right now. At least maybe a software update will give us this. So yes, I would go with the Pro version here when it comes to more color accurate photos, which is quite interesting, at least indoors. And I had some shots where between them with my daughter and my wife, and I also had the same kind of feeling where the indoors shots look better on the Pro in terms of colors, even though they're a bit more contrasty than on the Ultra. On the Ultra, I always had to like edit them, make them a little bit more punchy, the colors, to get the right colors. Yeah, that's it. Outside we have the same kind of difference again. So we have a bit more punchy colors on the Pro, a bit more contrasty look on the Pro, where the Ultra has a little bit more toned down colors, less contrast a bit. This is with the main camera sensor. Actually, the Ultra looks a bit more realistic because it's looking like it's a bit of a gloomy kind of day, where on the Pro it could be also like the sun out here, no? On the building and such thing. But there was no sun out on this building. It was a cloudy day. So this is where we see also a huge difference in terms of white balance as well. It's a bit too warm here on the Pro, and the same goes for the green grass there. It's like the detail levels are there for sure on both. Pros maybe slightly over sharpening stuff a little bit, but it's just like too punchy, the colors here on the Pro. And both, keep in mind, using Zeiss natural colors there without any big tweaking there. Ultra wide angle versus ultra wide angle to see a little bit of HDR because the sun was out for a few seconds there behind the clouds. As you can see, are both doing a fine job. Again, the Ultra, I think, a little bit sharper, as you can see there. And yeah, this is quite, I think, a nice photo on both of them. Maybe the coating is working a little bit towards the Ultra than the Pro, because you can see a little bit here of haze that we don't see so much on the Ultra. But this is like nitpicking. You can see the green grass is almost the same, maybe even like a little bit more punchy now on the Ultra. The wider field of view again on the Ultra in comparison to the, you can see the third window here, Pro. Both are doing a fine job here, I would say. With this one, I don't see much of a difference elsewhere. And yeah, as the sun was setting here, I think we can take a look at the night photos next. Night video active now on the Vivo X100 Pro, using the main camera sensor. Is recording 4K, probably 24 frames per second. I'm walking towards the light. You hear the internal mics of the Vivo X100 Pro. So what do you think about this one? Walking away from the light in the background now. What do you think about this one? And then I'll turn around. I'm in the dark now with light on my face. So what do you think about this one here? The Pro. Now the Ultra, also the 1-inch type sensor, also 4K, 24 frames per second night video mode. If you enable night video mode, then it switches to the main camera sensor only, so you can only use a crop. Standing now behind me is a car, standing now under the light here. And what do you think about the audio quality here? How good is it filtering out the car? Now walking away from the light in the background. How is my face illuminated? What do you think about the 1-inch type sensor here on the Ultra and the internal mics, of course, now facing the light? What do you think about this one here? How good is the video quality here on the Ultra? We start off with the ultra wide angles, where we have a narrow field of view that, as we noted already from the day shots on the Pro. But we see a huge difference here, where the Pro tries to make everything a little bit brighter looking. The Ultra is keeping it more dark and more nightlife as it actually was there. Quite interesting difference there in processing. The wider field of view gives us a little bit more of the street, where we have a little bit less of the street there. Both struggle a little bit there. But it's quite interesting that when I zoom in here towards the middle, I think I prefer the Pro a bit better. Maybe because of its more narrow field of view, that it gives me a little bit more details there on the cars, on the street itself, where it looks a bit, overblown highlights maybe, and a little bit like colder kind of color that actually wasn't so cold. Pavement is more warm like on the Pro, but also the detail level in general. You can see here the pizzeria, what is it, Pizzeria da Gigi, more readable, clearer on the Pro. Might be the 1mm difference there that helps the Pro there. Also the brightness brightened up, or it's just like the processing being a bit more advanced because the Pro is so long on the market already and they really improved upon it. But I think the Pro here in night mode is doing a better job. Also, what about the signs here? The same. I think it's a bit blurry on the Ultra. Both doing a fine job when it comes to keeping the colors there. Yeah, I think, yes, the Pro is doing a better job there for the night photos with the ultra-wide angle. Main camera sensor, do we see much of a difference between those two here, 1-inch type sensors? Yes, we see a bit more contrasty look now on the Ultra with a little bit more punchy colors. Keep in mind, both size natural colors still. So look at this Römerstube restaurant there and compare it here, the bricks, for example, with everything else. You can see, first of all, this is like handled a little bit better. Here it looks like those letters are like melting into each other. We don't have this so much here. Sharpness here, coating, I think the lens flare slightly better on the Ultra. People sitting outside there, slightly sharper. Look at the sign here, the license plate of the car. I think a bit sharper on the Pro, where the Ultra is a bit blurry there. Detail levels also in the back there looks to be a bit sharper for me on the Pro. Handling the light sources there, both are doing a fantastic job with this. And the rest here you can just pixel peep all day long and you will see it's very, very close. But we have to find a winner for this night photos, and I'm more impressed by the processing currently on the Pro than on the Ultra, where I have like the feeling the Ultra is like maybe over sharpening a little bit there. Sometimes with also struggling maybe a little bit there. It looks a bit over processed for me, the Ultra. The Pro looks a bit sharper, but not over processed. It's just like weird, because he is like less sharp, he's a bit more sharp. Maybe it's just a feeling. Let's go further. Let's take a look at some other shots here with the tele zoom camera on both. Keep in mind 4.3 on the Pro and 3.7 on the Ultra. And those are, I don't know what you can get there. I think you can get cigarettes, maybe those e-cigarettes. And yeah, we have a little bit closer shot on the Pro, but you can also see that the highlights are handled a little bit better. Why is that so? Yeah, we have a larger sensor on the Ultra, and actually the Pro had a bit of a night processing time where the Ultra didn't, because the sensor is so large. So 1/2 on the Pro and 1/1.49 something on the Ultra. So the Ultra has a larger sensor. In terms of noise level and other things, I don't see much of them. I think it's just like HDR is a bit better on the Pro. It could be also because it's a bit more zoomed in that it could process the HDR, so you can see items there, where here it's like completely overblown. Also here, I think there's a shisha bar, so maybe those are like stuff for the shishas. You can see, yeah, it's like this overblowing kind of thing that we don't have here. Blooming, maybe it's called. Anyway, the light bulbs look nicer on the Pro. Let's go to 10 times, check if we see a big difference there. What we can clearly see here is that the Ultra redeems itself, because the items are much clearer to see, and you can see also like the lines there, where here it's like harder. Definitely it's a little bit, the contrast is a bit higher, so it looks like paper, but actually it's a screen, and here you can see it is a screen. So the detail level is actually better on the Ultra at this 10 times shot, but it's slightly more natural on the Ultra than on the Pro. There's like not much of a difference there in those terms. Then selfies, and I was a bit shocked again about the Pro being so bad in selfies, because I didn't turn face beautification on. It is doing it by itself, and this is why I have this horror face, like completely white. Much more natural on the Ultra, even though maybe you leaning towards more reddish, but it could be because there was a reddish light or something like this. Anyway, this looks not so great if I go to 100%, and this looks like nightmare. It's like greenish, completely whitewashed and redrawn face. Even my teeth, that with all their imperfections, like completely as if I have plastic teeth. Yes, the Ultra is the winner here for those shots. Look at the nice bokeh boards it creates. And both are doing very nice job there. Vivo is doing a nice job. But with this, I don't know why the Pro is doing this. I checked again and it was disabled for sure. Maybe I have to reset the camera app or something like this, so not have it like so artificial. Anyway, selfies definitely is a win for the Ultra. Talking about ultra wide angle, let's check this again here to see if we can see a big difference, because before the Pro was winning, and yeah, let's see if we can see now a winner here with the Ultra. We can see, I think, a little bit more noise on the Ultra. This is what I see. With the optimizations, again, I think a bit brighter on the Pro, maybe a bit contrastier. Look, you look at the shadows here where the people are standing there. It's yeah, a bit more dark on the Ultra. What's with the restaurant there? People sitting there enjoying their meal. Again, I think the Ultra struggles a bit there. So it is not as superior as it was in daylight, I would say. So the processing is great on the Pro. The Ultra, however, keeps the night spirit more here in these shots for sure. There you can see the television tower there in the background, maybe a little bit. Yeah, so it's heavily processed on the Pro, as you see here. And yeah, the Ultra is struggling a bit there. It's like, yeah, you be the judge there, but I think I'm leaning towards still the Pro a little bit more than towards the Ultra. Even though the more contrasty look, more night kind of flare on the Ultra is likable for sure. Telezoom lens again. Here I think the Pro is also doing a slightly better job with the white balance, because this yellow kind of light that is shining on this cathedral there is much closer to reality than this more warmish yellow orange light that we have here on the Ultra, where though I like the Ultra's detail level a bit better, because it's a bit too artificial, sharpened up for my taste on the Pro. It's looking a bit more natural on the Ultra for sure. Yeah, the Ultra again, 3.7 times zoom. Let's check out some people there in the background. You can also see, I'm not interested in people, but interested in those things here. You can see the detail levels there of this shades there. Signs and texts, much clearer on the Ultra than on the Pro, or here, as you can see here, much more details on the Ultra than on the Pro. And even though with fast moving subjects like this guy moving, apparently the Pro keeps a longer shutter speed apparently, with the Ultra not. Why is that the case? Because the Ultra did not use nighttime mode by default in its automatic. The Pro has to use the nighttime mode, otherwise it would get a too dark kind of picture. And this is why we have sharper kind of things all over the place there. So yes, this is one of the huge benefits of the Ultra, the larger sensor there. And this is why the Ultra is winning in this regard. And at 10 times it becomes even clearer here with the sign. The Pro is not doing a bad job, but the Ultra is just simply beating it there with detail levels, with sharpness, with colors, with rendering, with everything actually. Because it doesn't have to use night mode for this kind of shot, where the Pro has. And this is then the result that you can see there. It needs a bit more processing on the Pro to get to something that is closer to the Ultra than I would have expected, but still the Ultra is winning here big time against the Pro when it comes to telezooms. And then one last shot with the main camera sensor, just to see if you can spot some difference there. I think there's a slight difference with a bit of warmer tone on the Ultra there with the greens, and maybe also with the blues. I think it's a bit overexposed here, where here the Pro has a slight advantage. Otherwise, yeah, again, the exposure is a bit darker here a bit brighter up. A little bit more details on the Ultra there. Maybe it's a bit sharpening, maybe already noise, and it's smoothing out the noise. Hard to tell. Let's see what those guys are up to. Yeah, it is pretty similar there. It appears to be a bit sharper on the Ultra. So yes, the Ultra has a better sensor there, and I think it is doing a nice job there in showing that. but it's very slight difference there that we can see here in the night. So main camera sensor, you don't see much of a difference. Ultra wide angle actually is better optimized on the Pro for the nighttime, I think, even though the Ultra looks a little bit more night-like. And the telezoom definitely is a win for the Ultra as well. What do you think? Write it down in the comments. Let's come to the conclusion, and TLDR, the Vivo X100 Ultra gets 4.565 points, where the Vivo X100 Pro gets 4.480 points. So we have a clear winner here, and that is the X100 Ultra. Let's take a look at in the details. Where do we see the advantages? Is it the main camera photo quality? Actually, even though I saw it in daylight, a little bit in favor to the Vivo, I think it is not such a big difference. It's not a difference where I would say I have to raise the points of the X100 Ultra to 4.9. Because like I said, in nighttime, I think the X100 Pro is doing such a great job that it's like the little issues or the little wins that I saw on the Ultra are already like counterweighted, and it's basically the same. When it comes to the ultra-wide, however, I think the X100 Ultra and Vivo in general got a nice performance upgrade there on the X100 Ultra, because in daylight, the differences between those two are significant. I think the X100 Ultra is doing a much better job there than the Pro. At nighttime, it becomes almost the same. So this is why, in this case, the X100 Ultra is so significantly better at daylight, where I give it this 0.1 point more on the Ultra. And the Ultra is then, yeah, you will see it later, like in line with all the other Ultras that we have there in the test. When it comes to the zoom camera photo quality, however, it's a clear win for the Ultra, 4.8 points here and 4.6 only on the Pro. The Pro has a fantastic zoom camera that produces nice results there for sure, but the Ultra is a tad better there with its larger sensor, especially at low light, where it wins significantly. Also in terms of video recording, they're both very close. The sharpness details and the better tele-zoom lens there helps the Ultra a little bit. Also a nice feature to have the possibility to switch all lenses, including the front camera, at 4K 60. And I think the zoom level is a little bit, zooming in and out is a bit better on the Ultra. Sometimes even though I have the latest firmware on, it didn't perform the same bug as I had when I was like doing the test, but yeah, I think in general it smoothly zooms in to where you want to go, which is quite nice. Autofocus performance is the same on both there, 4.5 points. Front camera is a win for the Ultra as well. Pixel binning here helps a little bit, much more details. At nighttime it's just like significantly better. This is why we have here also the gap of 0.2 points. Camera UI, both the same goes for extra features. Both are packed with extra features. There a tiny bit more extra features even on the Ultra there. Before it was even more, because we had like this nice street mode, the humanistic street snap mode, but this is now also on the Pro on the Pro model with the latest software update, so not much of a difference. I think there's one little nice feature on the Ultra. It's like the possibility to set sharpness and the color temperature or vibrancy, which is quite nice, that we don't have in the Pro, but this weighs itself out, I would say. So the Ultra is the definite winner here. And what does it do for the ranking? Actually, because the Ultra with the latest software update got a better ultra wide angle, something that can compete with the Oppo Find X7 Ultra, we have a new number one, the Vivo X100 Ultra with 4.565 points, where the Oppo Find X7 Ultra only has 4.550 points. I was doing a quick brief check out with the ultra wide angles to see which one is the winner between the Oppo and the Vivo, but both perform the same in terms of ultra wide angles. This is why they get the same points. By the way, also together with the Huawei Pura 70 Ultra, even though the Pura 70 Ultra, this is the worst sensor that they have on the Pura 70 Ultra. It apparently is also the worst sensor on the Find X7 Ultra, and the Vivo X100 Ultra, it was even worse before, but they upgraded this quite significantly, and to a better ultra-wide angle now in terms of software, with not so much sharpening applied, and yeah, better edge control and colors in general. So yes, both the Find X7 Ultra, the Vivo X100 Ultra got 4.2 points here. Together with the Huawei P70 Ultra, the Huawei didn't change its points, 4.5, 10 points still. But we have a new winner here. Thanks to the latest upgrade, the Vivo X100 Ultra is gaining top #1 ranking position on my ranking system, even though the Find X7 Ultra has better front camera and slightly better video recording quality. I think the X100 Ultra deserves this spot here, especially with its nice camera UI and extra features that surpass all the other ones. And #4 ranking here is now the Vivo X100 Pro, as you can see here, slightly behind the Huawei P70 Ultra. I think a nice spot there. You can see, like, under the top 5 we have 2 Oppos and we have 2 Vivos and we have 1 Huawei, and yeah, actually 1 Xiaomi phone, also #5 here together with the Oppo. And then #6 again, an Honor and a Huawei there. #7 already the Xperia 1 Mark 6, quite interestingly enough. Then we have another Xiaomi and Huawei, and then the iPhone and some other Xiaomi. So yeah, what do you think about these results and my ranking system? Finally now doesn't have like a #1 that's sharing its spot there. It is like sometimes a head-to-head race between Oppo and Vivo when it comes to updates, and every time a new update arrives, then either one of those gets the #1 spot and is overtaking the other one there slightly. And then another update hits and the other one can strike back. I'm really curious to see with ColorOS 15 eventually if Oppo can strike back there. That should arrive also pretty soon, hopefully. Maybe there will be another ColorOS 14 update that optimizes the cameras again a little bit. Especially, I think the zoom camera photo quality there is quite great already. But maybe it can get a little bit better. Maybe they can do a little bit more magic also with the ultra wide angle there. That would be awesome as well. Or even improve the front camera a little bit there. They're at the peak of the camera smartphones Olymp right now. So what do you think about this result? Write it on the comment section. That's everything for this longer video already, very detailed video. If you want more of those videos, subscribe and maybe also donate, so I have a little bit more time and money to do those videos. That's everything for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Until the next time. Bye.